Liverpool continued their winning ways yesterday with a 3-1 win over Southampton. In today's video, we will go over the fallout from the game and having a look at what Trent Alexander-Arnold has said, which could give us an idea over the future of his Liverpool career. Whilst also looking into all the latest Liverpool news from the last 24 hours. Furthermore, we will go over our 5 biggest takeaways from the 3-1 win over Southampton yesterday. There is so much to discuss in today's video, so be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Liverpool content. But first, Arne Slot admitted a rare regret over his starting lineup for Liverpool's 3-1 win over Southampton, most notably his decision not to start Harvey Elliott. Slot made 3 changes for the visit of Southampton, but was forced to make 3 more at halftime as his side went in 1-0 down. A sluggish first half at Anfield prompted the head coach, who watched from the stands due to suspension, to replace Kostas Tsimikas, Curtis Jones and Dominic Szoboszlai with Andy Robertson, Alexis McAllister and Elliott. Elliott may have been disappointed not to start given his match-winning heroics in midweek. And, speaking after the game, Slot suggested in hindsight he felt he should have. It's always a difficult decision not to start Harvey, not to start Water, not to start all the other ones that I don't play, he told reporters. But if someone comes in for 5 minutes, touches his first ball and scores a goal, then to change your whole idea about all the lineups you made before, that would be a bit weird as well. So yeah, he had a good impact on the game against PSG. Today, he had again a good impact on the game. That's why he got 45 minutes today as well, because he did so well in Paris. There's also a reason why I play so many times the other ones, and all the time they deserved that trust. But today, if I could do it one more time over, I would have started it differently than I started, but you don't know this in advance. Elliott is still yet to start a game in the Premier League this season and has only done so 4 times in all competitions, with his tally of 552 minutes the fewest of any senior player bar Federico Chiesa, 370. That does a disservice to the 21-year-old's quality, but Slot was full of praise for his attitude regardless, comparing him to Wataru Endo. What it is with him is also with other players. They are in competition with so many good players, and that makes it sometimes difficult to make a lineup, he explained. But it always helps to bring in performances like this. And also Wata, he came in 15 minutes before the end, and again he showed how important he is for this team. Harvey trains really well. I said many times about Wata, I can say the same about Harvey, hardly any playing time, but just keeps on going. And then when your moment comes, then you can show your quality. Now in some huge Trent Alexander-Arnold news, Trent Alexander-Arnold has rarely fronted the press after a Liverpool match this season, but he made a notable exception after the 3-1 win over Southampton. Liverpool's vice-captain would typically be expected to talk to the media before and after matches, but there has been a notable exception this season amid the uncertainty over his future. While he has largely avoided the cameras, Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah have readily taken the time to speak live on television or to the written media. In January, it was reported that Alexander-Arnold's absence came as a respect to his boyhood club, while the contract process was ongoing, as the topic has been off limits. On Saturday, however, he did talk to Liverpool's in-house media, in an incredibly rare sighting that many will hope signals good news on his future. That was not the topic of discussion with LFC TV, of course, but Alexander-Arnold did highlight the significance of the latest 3 points. Starting with discussing Arne Slot's halftime reaction, the number 66 said, "Probably the most we have seen him so far. I guess it's a good thing he's not been too animated so far, but I think rightfully so. It wasn't good enough, deserved to be down, but came out second half with a point to prove and did that really early on. As a team and individuals, you'd like to be very good every single game, but it's not possible. You are going to have days like this where you don't play well. You're not proud of the performance. It's a day you look back on it and think, yeah, we got the 3 points. That's the most important thing. It makes a nice change to hear from Alexander-Arnold, as his silence was only pushing one narrative, and it was a stick to beat him with in any games he did not perform well in. There is still uncertainty over his future, but he will have a significant role to play in Liverpool's next 2 finals before the international break has been ticked off. Alexander-Arnold added, "Can't downplay too much how important today's win was. To go 16 clear at this stage of the season is huge and puts a lot of pressure on Arsenal. We've done our work in the league now until after the internationals. Now we focus on the two other competitions. It's a chance to get into the next phase of the Champions League after getting a good result on Wednesday, and a cup final is always a pleasure to play in. It's always an honour." Now, unfortunately, there was no mention of his ongoing contract situation at the club, but a lot of people are happy to see Trent in high spirits as he seems very happy at the club, and that could be a major boost for his ongoing situation. In this part of the video, we will discuss our 5 biggest takeaways from our 3-1 win against Southampton yesterday. Liverpool's 3-1 win over Southampton took half-time changes, drastic second-half improvement, and a pair of emphatic penalties to set the scene for the coming weeks. Number 1, a sleepy start in the sunshine. The sun beamed down in the build-up to kick-off, making for a potentially enjoyable afternoon of football in the sunshine. Southampton fans will certainly have enjoyed their trip up until half-time, as Will Smallbone capitalised on a mix-up between Alisson and Virgil van Dijk to give their side the lead. The moment summed up the first half, in which Liverpool looked half asleep. Perhaps the sunny spring day made them sluggish and complacent in a game against the Premier League's worst team. But they soon woke up in the second period, spurred on by Arne Slot's subs. Number 2, halftime shake-up to wake up. Having viewed the disappointing 45 minutes from his seat in the main stand, Slot had seen enough. A first half lacking verve prompted 3 halftime changes as Andy Robertson, Alexis McAllister and Harvey Elliott replaced Kostas Tsimikas, Dominic Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones. The players withdrawn weren't necessarily the worst performers in the first half, but it was obvious that things needed changing, and Slot wasn't going to hang around until midway through the second half to do so. These weren't the subs many will have made at half-time, with Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz looking like prime candidates to be withdrawn based on first half performance. But the changes proved to be the perfect ones to turn things around in no time. Number 3, 10-minute turnaround. It's safe to say Slot's changes worked. The team and Anfield itself, spurred on by each other, gave the second half a completely different feel to the first. Elliott provided an immediate burst of energy from midfield and got away one of Liverpool's most dangerous shots to that point. Shortly after 2 of the least convincing performers in the first half, Diaz and Núñez, combined for the equaliser before Núñez won the penalty which Mohamed Salah converted, all within 10 minutes of the break. The noise after the equaliser was deafening. Núñez and Diaz geared the crowd up further, and just seconds later the penalty was won by Núñez himself. Number 4, Elliott's chance. This game was the most minutes Elliott has played in the Premier League this season. It was his chance to show how important he can be as part of a first-choice lineup playing significant minutes, as opposed to his previous appearances as part of a backup 11 or as a late substitute. From the shot taken just 2 minutes into the second half to a couple of other dangerous attempts, he showed he can also make a difference in substantial moments rather than just in fleeting ones. Those fleeting moments have been important, not least his goal against PSG, but this was a chance to show he can be relied upon in the run-in. He might have liked to have notched a goal or an assist as Liverpool tried to make the scoreline more comfortable, but it was still a useful outing in an important game for himself and for the team. And number 5, an important cushion ahead of Premier League pause. When the team is in this position at this stage of the season, every game feels like a final, and the next 2 are no different. Hanging on to the lead against PSG will not be easy, and then there is the actual final against Newcastle in the League Cup on Sunday. Making easier work of this game against Southampton would have been beneficial, but it does keep key players in their groove, even if it might tire them somewhat. The next 2 games have the potential to be very demanding physically and mentally, so a win against Southampton, especially after going a goal down, was important to create a cushion at the top of the league table. The next Premier League game isn't until early next month, a home derby against Everton, so this win also eases some of the pressure ahead of that after a fiery encounter at Goodison Park in the reverse fixture. But that is all for today's video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content.